This is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Tuesday, the 27th day of October in the year 2020. I'm Gordon Mosley. Here's what we're tracking tonight. The country's COVID-19 death toll reached 121 today after the passing of two elderly persons who were both residents of Region 4. According to the Ministry of Health, the 82-year-old man and 81-year-old woman both passed away while being patients in a medical institution. No other details were provided. So far in October, a total of 39 deaths have been recorded. September remains the deadliest month for the pandemic in Guyana. 41 deaths were recorded in September. Meanwhile, the number of COVID-19 positive cases in the country continues to climb. As of last evening, 35 new cases were recorded. There are currently 902 active cases of coronavirus in Guyana, with 814 of those persons in home isolation. Today, Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony issued a call for the regions to do more testing and get more persons tested. He said it has been noted that a number of the regions are sending in less samples to be tested.
Today we have tested now a number of persons, and we have 61 active cases in Guyana. We continue to have a team on the ground that is doing sanitation of the residential facilities and also offering education and advice to the residents on how they can quarantine themselves within their own homes, and those persons who have been tested positive, what precautions they need to take in terms of isolating themselves.
The health minister also said now that the National Reference Laboratory has the capacity to complete more than 400 COVID-19 tests per day, he would like to see more tests being done across the regions.
We have the capacity now to do between 450 to 600 tests per day, and we are working to take that up to maybe about 1,000 to 1,200 tests per day. So that work continues. So capacity at the National Public Health Reference Lab has increased. In terms of getting samples, that really has to do with the regions themselves going out and proactively testing people once they meet the criteria or they feel they were exposed.
Since the pandemic reached local shores back in March, the country has recorded a total of 4,061 positive cases. There has been 3,030 full recoveries. More news coming up in just a moment.
Guyana, we've been through it all.
But as a people we have
weathered every storm
And risen to every challenge.
Because it is the people of Guyana
that gives it its strength.
all the people,
Regardless of race,
class or religion.
We
are one people, one strength.
And now is our time. A time to rise. Together, we rise.
Mobil Special and all other Mobil lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc. Mobil Special and all other Mobil lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc.
The glorious days of shopping are back on Ravinas on Water Street and Anans on Regent Street. Now in stock are over 20 beautiful designs of vinyl and over a dozen gorgeous designs in rubber tile for your homes, offices, or work. We have over 16 attractive colors of leatherette for covering furniture. For fast and comfortable shopping, visit us to get the best prices in town. That's Ravinas on Water Street and Anans on Regent Street.
The government of Guyana is committed to a comprehensive and inclusive housing development program for the benefit of all Guyanese. This is evident from its actions to date. However, the previous administration did absolutely nothing to identify alternative lands to house the persons squatting on state-owned lands on the east coast of Demerara. This illegal act was politically motivated, and poor and vulnerable individuals and families are being callously exploited for political purpose and private profiteering. Those lands have been identified for immediate and substantial cane cultivation by the Guyana Sugar Corporation. The information collected shows many of the squatters have proven to be homeowners, and yet the government has made every effort to engage the squatters and seek an amicable solution. Persons are being reminded that it is a criminal offense to illegally occupy state-owned land. The government cannot and will not allow squatting to be used as a means of acquiring land for housing. The government's offer to provide immediate, safe, temporary alternative accommodation to those persons in need remains in place.
We all know a strong educational foundation is a key to successful learning. Global technology combines award-winning curriculum with innovative technology and teacher support to help students reach their potential. Our online platform creates an engaging learning experience. Using any device, you can be a part of amazing class discussions, collaborate with others, and have access to virtual learning software. With our multiple payment methods, you will never have to leave home. Find out how global technology can allow you to learn anything, anywhere, at any time.
For all the Zoom hashouts and recipe tryouts, the world changed and we were right there, standing with you, always near, getting closer in so many ways, laughing together as we face these days. And because we are Caribbean, we've got a special insight that tells us there's no need to worry, world. We'll be all right.
Mobil Special and all other Mobil lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Mobil Special and all other Mobil lubricants are distributed by Salt Guyana Inc. Welcome back. Well, let's tell you now that the government of Guyana, through the Ministry of Natural Resources, is currently probing reports that there is the smuggling of Venezuelan gold into Guyana for sale on the international market. It is suspected that the Venezuelan miners have infiltrated the local market with their gold, and it has placed local miners at a disadvantage. Many of them have complained. Minister of Natural Resources Vikram Barrett told reporters yesterday that a special probe is underway to track the claims by local miners.
There's complaints that the Royal Canadian Mint, as well as other buyers, there's the same report that gold from Venezuela is infiltrating the Guyana gold. But of course, you would appreciate the fact that there is no solid way or means of differentiating between, detecting between, other than ensuring that there is proper border control and proper control of mining activities. But the Gold Board has been looking at previous declarations and all the other information that they would have on dealers, and they're quite satisfied that at this point that it is not true.
The minister said while his ministry has received various reports from local miners, there is no substantial evidence at this time which points to wide-scale smuggling of gold from Venezuela into Guyana.
As it is now, there is no substantial evidence to point to gold coming across the border from Venezuela. If you ask me, there's enough evidence to say the otherwise, the opposite, that Guyana gold is leaving our borders and going to Brazil and Venezuela.
As in smuggled.
As in smuggling, illegal mining. Right? That is happening right now, which we're trying to deal with. But the Guyana Gold Board is looking into that matter in particular, because a number of dealers would have complained to us. As soon as that report is available, I will share it.
The Guyana government is hoping for a full report on the investigations to be completed and handed over by the end of this month. Already there is a task force which has brought together a number of government agencies examining the problem of illegal mining and other illegal activities in the country's mining districts. Just recently, an underground mining tunnel was discovered by the Guyana Defense Force and completely destroyed. The joint services have also found themselves coming under fire from the Venezuelan side of the border whenever they traverse the bordering communities in search of illegal mining camps. Well, just as Guyane's own carrier Trans-Guyana Airways settles into its 5 times per week Guyana-Barbados schedule, regional carrier Caribbean Airlines is joining that same route. Caribbean Airlines has announced that from the end of this month, it will begin 3 flights per week between the Eugene F. Correa Airport at Ogle and Barbados' Grantley Adams Airport. The return non-stop flights have been scheduled for Mondays, Fridays, and Saturdays, and the carrier will use its ATR 72 fleet to operate the service. That's the same type of aircraft that was being used by Liat. According to the Chief Executive Officer at Caribbean Airlines, Garvin Madeira, the decision to have regularly scheduled flights between Ogle and Bridgetown seeks to fulfill the needs of customers of the airlines. He assured that Caribbean Airlines will continue to observe all the safety protocols which are aligned with the highest international standards for the protection and well-being of customers and employees. The airline also said the services to and from Ogle will complement its current operations at the Cheddi-Jagan Airport and will also facilitate onward international connections to the United Kingdom and beyond, and regional connections including to St. Vincent, Grenada, Dominica, St. Lucia, and other Caribbean destinations. The China Harbour Engineering Company, which has the contract for the expansion of the Cheddi-Jagan International Airport, has reported that its commitments to the Guyana government are to comply with the request under the current contract signed between the two parties. In a statement, the company said that under the contract, 97% of its work was completed by the end of December 2019. It noted that the general elections earlier this year and the coronavirus pandemic aided in the reduction of its workforce, and that affected the completion of the project. According to the company, it remains engaged in discussions with the government and is fully cooperating to seek the delivery of the project according to its contractual obligations. The recently elected PPP civic government has been pressing the company on the project and has even threatened action over the incomplete works. The Public Works Minister has also been pressing the company on its contract. In a statement last evening, Minister Juan Egil said he's looking forward to the delivery of the original contract that envisages the 17,000 square meters of new facilities, terminal buildings, an extended runway, taxiways, and aprons with capacity for 8 standing aircraft, with facilities for 8 air bridges. But some of those things were not catered for in the updated 2016 contract that the company is working with. China Harbour reminded that while it inked the original contract in 2011 and work was hampered between 2013 and 2015 because of non-approval of the budget, the government in early 2015 chose an alternative proposal. According to the company, from January 2013 to the early months of 2016, it funded the execution and construction of the project from its financial resources. In January 2016, the preliminary plan for redesigning the terminal building was agreed upon between the parties, and the renovation of the original building and the construction of the new terminal building began. The company said it remains committed to Guyana and the completion of the airport project. Turning now to the aviation sector, U.S. carrier JetBlue Airlines has announced that it will finally begin its Guyana service from the 11th of December. The airline was scheduled to begin its service between Georgetown and New York earlier this year, but those plans were grounded as the coronavirus pandemic crippled the airline industry. However, in a message to staffers this morning, JetBlue announced that it will be adding its non-stop service between New York and Georgetown from the 11th of December, using its A321 aircraft. The airline will initially offer 4 flights per week on the route. The airline said customers can purchase seats on the JFK outbound flights starting today. The flights from New York will leave at 3:40 in the afternoons to arrive in Guyana just after 10 o'clock at night, while the flights from Guyana will depart at 11:59, that's just around midnight, to arrive in New York at 5 a.m. Guyana's Cheddi-Jagan International Airport was closed to regular flights since March because of the COVID-19 pandemic. The airport only reopened to regular operations in mid-October. Several safety measures are in place to safeguard passengers, crew, and airport workers. Incoming passengers are required to have a COVID-19 negative test result that will have been obtained within 72 hours of the flight. There are systems in place at the airport for those passengers whose negative test results were received more than 4 days prior to their departure. There are systems in place at the Chetty Jagan Airport for those passengers whose negative test results were received more than 4 days prior to their arrival. They'll be allowed to have a second test taken on arrival in Guyana at the airport. The Guyana National Bureau of Standards is preparing to do additional monitoring of the importation of tires now that the government has lifted a ban on the importation of used tires. With effect from October 1, the importation of used tires restarted, weeks after the decision was made by the new government. According to the Public Relations Officer of the GNBS, Lloyd David, the standards body will be examining each and every tire being imported into the country, although it will be a tedious task. He explained that a container of used tires could see as many as 2,000 of those tires tightly packed, and all of those will have to be examined for damage and defects before they are allowed onto the local market. Used tires are generally imported from European countries, North America, and in some cases Japan. The GNBS wants to see the local importers work closer with their suppliers in those countries to ensure better quality of used tires are made available for the local market. Back in 2017, under the previous government, a ban was placed on the importation of used tires. The move saw only new tires being imported, and the cost for those new tires were actually reduced. The current government has faced some backlash over its decision to revert to allowing the importation of used tires. But the Used Tires Association of Guyana has welcomed the move. Across the region is coming up next. Mobil Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc. Mobil Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc.
Christmas season is here once again, and we encourage everybody to be safe. Between October 23rd and December 31st, buy your groceries and fuel from Falls, and you can win a Christmas hamper every week or your fuel purchase free. Just spend $3,000, complete the coupon, drop it in the box, and then listen for your name. And to make it even better, you can win a bumper hamper on Christmas Eve day. Yes, our prices are great, the environment is safe, and everyone wins when you shop in the Falls Christmas promotion, Land of Canaan.
Been through it all.
But as a people we have
Weathered every storm.
And risen to every challenge.
Because it is the people of Guyana
That gives it its strength.
all the people,
Regardless of race,
class or religion.
we
are one people, one strength.
And now is our time. A time to rise. Together, we rise.
Mobil Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc. Mobil Delvac and all other mobile lubricants are distributed by Sol Guyana Inc. Across the region right now, COVID-19 and its impact on the Caribbean community will be among matters for consideration by CARICOM heads of government when they meet via video conference this Thursday. The 41st regular meeting of CARICOM heads of government is expected to examine the health, financial, and economic development implications of COVID-19 on the region. The discussions will follow the special emergency meetings held by the heads in May, August, and September as part of their efforts to harmonize their responses to and policies on the multifaceted impact of COVID-19. Thursday's meeting will also discuss other major concerns, including blacklisting. CARICOM earlier this month issued a statement condemning what it called the ongoing unilateral, arbitrary, and non-transparent blacklisting strategy employed by the European Union against CARICOM member states. The statement noted that along with the unprecedented task of staging a post-COVID-19 economic recovery, the CARICOM states now have the added burden of being subjected to the EU's tactics. The Parliament of Dominica has approved a bill for an act to decriminalize the possession of 1 ounce or less of marijuana. The amendment of the Drugs Prevention of Misuse Act was passed in Parliament on Monday. The country's Home Affairs Minister said there is a common misconception that marijuana should not be decriminalized entirely without some measure of restriction being imposed. He said it shall not be lawful for a person to have more than 28 grams of marijuana in their possession. Therefore, any person who has 28 grams or less of marijuana in their possession will be not guilty of any offense. And finally tonight, international news. Europe's daily COVID deaths rose by nearly 40% compared with the previous week, the World Health Organization has reported to the BBC. WHO spokeswoman Dr. Margaret Harris said France, Spain, the UK, the Netherlands, and Russia accounted for the majority of cases, which increased by a third. Russia reported a daily record of 320 deaths, pushing its tally to 26,589. There has also been a sharp increase in Italy, with 221 fatalities announced in the past 24 hours. The total number of fatalities in Austria went above 1,000 earlier today. Russia has the world's 4th highest number of COVID-19 cases after the US, India, and Brazil. It recorded another 16,550 infections today, and authorities have now made the wearing of face masks compulsory in all crowded spaces. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley reporting. Have a safe evening.